Welcome to the Action Network studio in New York City. I'm Maria Marino, and this is Green Dot Daily. You can find us right here every weekday at 3 Eastern on the Action YouTube channel and the Action app. If you don't catch us live, catch us on demand. Today on the show, we're going to get you some MLB plays. We will preview the RBC Heritage Golf Tournament. Plus, we're going to get into whether there is merit behind some NHL superstitions. But we start with the NBA after a wild first night of the play-in tournament. And with a win over the Heat, the Hawks claimed the 7th seed in the Eastern Conference. They will face the Celtics in the first round of the playoffs. Miami will face the loser of tonight's Bulls-Raptors game. The Lakers, meanwhile, hung on to beat the T-Wolves in OT. Lakers get the 7th seed in the West. They advance to face the Grizzlies. Minnesota will take on the loser of Thunder Pelicans tonight. So, let's say hello to NBA analyst Chris Raybon. What stood out to you about the games last night, and in particular on the losing end for the Heat and the T-Wolves, and what this will mean for their playoff hopes on Friday?
Maria, what really stood out to me was the rebounding differentials. The Hawks out-rebounded the Heat 63-39, and then the T-Wolves got out-rebounded by the Lakers 48-37. So let's start with the Heat. In their case, this could be an issue because no matter who they face, the winner of this Toronto-Chicago game, Toronto's third in offensive rebounding percentage, Chicago third in defensive rebounding percentage. And the two teams combined are 6-1 this season straight up versus the Heat. So Miami's in a little bit of trouble here. And in terms of Minnesota, assuming Rudy Gobert suspension ends, I think that will correct what went wrong with them. I mean, you take 11.6 rebounds per game out of the lineup, and it's no surprise that they got out-rebounded. If you looked at pretty much every other statistical category, Minnesota actually outplayed the Lakers, but it was the rebound was the one that the Lakers got, and the Lakers were able to keep it close enough to pull it out in OT. So Gobert coming back, that would be a big addition if he's able to get back and they're comfortable trotting him out there.
I agree. It really felt like Minnesota would have beaten the Lakers had they had Rudy Gobert there. So I assume he's going to be back Friday, at least for Minnesota's sake. But before we get there, we got to find out who will compete for that 8th seed in both conferences. So what are you betting on in tonight's games?
I got a couple props, one for each game. For the Bulls-Raptors game, I like DeMar DeRozan under 32.5 points, rebounds, and assists. I would bet it down to 30.5. You look at his 3 games against Toronto this season, and they really put the clamps on him. He's averaging just 14 points, 3.7 rebounds, and 3.7 assists in 36 minutes per game. OG Anunoby has been his primary defender, and he's really locked him up. More turnovers than field goal attempts in the 23 minutes and change that OG has guarded DeRozan. So I think that's going to continue. I think they're going to need it from Levine and Vucevic, but I think DeRozan, I think he's going to continue to struggle here. And of course, we saw this total drop, about 5 points. Last time I checked in the Action app, there were 10 sharp moves on the under, and that's always going to help your unders and those point rebound assist props as well.
We were talking about this yesterday with our research director, Evan Abrams, about these play-in tournament games have been going under, so that might explain as well why you're seeing that shift. How about the nightcap?
Yeah, I'm going to go with Dort under 13.5 points here. This is a guy who plays much better at home, not so well on the road. His point per game average drops by 4 down to just 11.7 per game, which is 2 below the prop essentially. And he struggled versus the Pelicans this year, just 9.5 points per game in 34 minutes. So I do expect him to be out there chasing around Brandon Ingram. So he'll get a lot of minutes, but I don't think scoring is going to be a focus, and foul trouble is a possibility as well. But he's shooting just 32% from the field and 17% from 3 against the Pelicans, just 3 of 18 from deep. And when they put McCollum on him, who's not even really known as a lockdown defender, Dort has only attempted one shot in about 9 minutes of playtime when guarded by CJ. So I really like this LeQuence Dort under, and this is another game where that total has dropped 5 points. You probably are seeing a little bit of an overcorrection here because both games went under yesterday, and as you mentioned, the play in tournament tends to go under. But either way, I still think this is a tough spot for Dort to hit the over on his points prop, so I'm going under.
Forgive me, I'm not being rude. I'm checking my phone because I saw Evan tweeted about this. I guess perfect 8-0 to the under the last 2 seasons in the play-in tournament. So I just want to make sure I got that correct. And Raybon, good news. We're going to get to talk about the rest of the play-in when you come back with us on Friday. So thanks for today, and we'll see you then.
Can't wait. Always a pleasure.
Green Dot Daily is presented by BetMGM. Use bonus code ACTION when signing up to get up to $1,000 paid back in bonus bets if you don't win your first bet. Terms and conditions apply. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Over to baseball. Some action happening as we speak, but some of the best matchups later in today's action. Phillies are favored hosting the Marlins at the top of the hour. The 11-0 Rays will put their unbeaten record on the line against the Red Sox. And later, the Giants are home dogs against the Dodgers. With that, we bring in Sean Koerner from our analytics team. Good to see you, Sean. You've been crunching the numbers as you tend to do in this young season, and you've come up with some props for us. What do you have?
Yeah, so for my first prop, I'm going to go with Mackenzie Gore, the Nationals, to go over 4.5 strikeouts at -120. Gore is a second-year player with just a ton of upside, and the Nationals aren't holding him back either. He's thrown at least 93 pitches in each of his first 2 starts. The velocity is up on his fastball, and his curveball just continues to be just absolutely filthy. He's been able to generate a 46% whiff rate on his curveball this year. The Angels have a pretty strikeout-friendly lineup today. Shohei Ohtani won't be in the lineup. And Gore is a left-handed pitcher, so while it might seem less than ideal that he's facing 8 right-handed bats today, he actually has a higher strikeout rate against right-handed hitters in his career. So I'm not too worried about that. Plus, Brett Phillips is batting 9th today. He is a very easy K victim. I'm projecting with a 41% chance to strike out in his first at bat. So the fact that Gore gets to face Phillips probably twice in this game bodes well for this prop. So I'm projecting Gore closer to 5.5 strikeouts with a 65% chance to clear 4.5.
Meanwhile, you are rocking the Angels hat, and I know you're from the area. You're going to the game today?
I am going to the game. Yeah, I'm a huge Angels fan, but I will be rooting for them to strike out today. It's kind of weird.
You want enough strikeouts for the prop to hit, but not enough for the Angels to lose. Is that accurate?
Exactly, which is possible. I mean, the Angels, they're a good offense. They still have Trout today, but they do strike out at a higher rate, so they could still win the game today, even if they do, help this prop go over.
I also just want to note that normally when I see you, you're wearing different hats, but this is the one case that you are legitimately a fan of the team.
Yeah, the Angels are the only team I'm actually a fan of. I grew up loving them. Tim Salmon's my favorite player, so I'm a diehard Angels fan. But I don't let that impact my sports betting.
Clearly
as you
not.
Can tell.
Clearly not. I mean, a true pro through and through. Okay. What else do you have for props?
So for my other prop, I have Dean Kramer of the Orioles to go under 4.5 strikeouts today at +110. And, Kramer isn't the type of pitcher who racks up a ton of Ks to begin with, but based on his early season mix of pitches, he is really trying to pitch to contact. Last year, he only threw a sinker 9% of the time. This year, it's doubled up to 18%. So he's thrown his sinker 25 times this year, and he's yet to generate a single whiff. So he uses that sinker just to pitch to contact, get an easy ground ball or something. So the A's are a perfect matchup for them. The A's, they don't strike out much, but they hit a ton of weak contact. So I think he's going to mix in the sinker even more today at the expense of strikeouts. The only hitter I'm really worried about is Ryan Noda, who's expected to hit second today. He's the only batter I'm actually projecting with over a 25% chance of striking out. So again, there aren't that many easy strikeouts in this lineup today. I'm projecting with a 56% chance to stay under 4.5. So the fact that we're getting +110 odds here is just, icing on the cake.
Sean Koerner does all of these projections, puts all this work in so you don't have to. We appreciate it, Sean. Have fun today.
Thanks for having me.
Turning our attention to golf, check out the odds leaders going into the RBC Heritage tournament. Scotty Scheffler leads the pack at plus 750. Then it's Masters champion Jon Rahm at plus 850, followed by Patrick Cantlay at plus 1200. For more on this week's tournament, here's Jason Sobel.
My favorite outright play this week is Sungjae Im, with the RBC Heritage becoming a designated event on the PGA Tour for the first time, and about 4 dozen players making the quick trip from Augusta National to Hilton Head this week. We shouldn't go too far down the list. That said, this is a golf course that plays just south of 7,200 yards. A lot of the big hitters don't need driver, and Sungjae Im, well, he isn't that big of a hitter. He's one of the game's elite players who doesn't actually hit it that far. He's right around the PGA Tour average off the tee this year. What that means is the playing field should be level. He's been trending in the right direction for a while. At plus 2,800, I think Im makes for a very strong outright play this week. As for my favorite prop, I'm going with what should be a very popular play in Matt Kuchar. Why is everybody on Kuchar this week? Well, he's played this event 19 times. He has a win, a second place finish, a third place finish, 7 top 10s, 12 top 25s, and he's only missed the cut once. That was way back in 2003, 20 years ago, the first time he ever played here. All of that said, Cooch is running hot at this golf tournament and running hot lately with 3 top 10s in his last 5 starts. I'm going to be very conservative here and play him just for a top 20, but if you'd like to play him up to a top 10 or even a top 5 this week, I really don't have a problem with it.
To dive even deeper into RBC Heritage, tune into the Gimme with Jason Sobel and Roberto Arguello for all the picks you can handle, coming up at 5:30 right here on Action Network. And joining us now is Action Network's Tim Kalinowski. And Tim, believe it or not, we're going to stick with the golf theme here for just a second, because a couple of us here in the studio were rather moved by your latest TikTok, and you were basically ripping the Masters coverage. So can you give us a brief rundown of what your pet peeve was?
Well, it's pretty tough. Thanks for having me, Maria. It's pretty tough because, golf is generally an older demographic of people, right? You picture, Pop's falling asleep on the couch while he watches. And look, I'm a casual golf fan. I watch, the majors is what I'm dialed into. The problem is it's like always the most difficult thing to find Thursday through Sunday. It's on one network, then it's on the next network, then it's feature groups, then it's this. I go, if I'm 24 and I have trouble following what app to download, what VPN, what streaming to buy, I have every streaming service under the sun, and I could not find how to watch the leaders play on Saturday. I think, and I've learned, I sort of knew, but I didn't fully know. Like the Masters is the full control of the broadcast. So that's like what it comes down to. But I mean, God, why do you make it so difficult?
Listen, I think that's a fair point. The younger folks like yourself only have an attention span for so long. But let's move away from golf now. Where Masters is done. I know we got the RBC Heritage this week. You heard about that. We're over it. You and I have to discuss your Bruins because you're our resident Bostonian. The Bruins, it looks like they are definitely going to win the President's Trophy. So this has been, by all accounts, a good season for them. How has it been for you?
Funny you should ask. Well, the Bruins are the greatest regular season team of all time. The most wins, the most points. And I've got to enjoy just about 0 of that time this season. I'm a pessimist. I did not believe this Bruins team could do anything like this, and really no one did. But the problem is I kept not believing over and over and over and over and putting my money where my mouth was. I bet against the Bruins. Okay, mind you, my team, the greatest regular season hockey team in history. I bet against them 33 times this year. I only bet on them 4 times. So I don't even really need to tell you what the financial situation looked like. All you need to know is those numbers probably didn't yield a good result.
Yes, the numbers, I believe, to be exact, 25 losses for you, 8 wins. So quite a bit on the losing end. And I wonder about the psychology of this, because my theory is when you're so close to a team and you root for them and you love them so much, it's like you almost can't believe that they're good, and you have that pessimistic attitude. Would you agree?
I am a big time fade my teams as it is for the, emotional hedge. But on top of that, look, you are dialed into them every night. And just by being dialed in, I just kept saying, there's no way they keep this up. There's no way they keep this up. It was every spot that would say, okay, here's a scheduled loss. I mean, they would, the end of the season right now, they are playing half their lineup. Half their lineup, is NHLers, half of it is AHLers. And they're still winning. They still find ways to win. So it's bananas. And I'm just terrified that it's all going to come crashing down.
Well, do you think that this is like a reverse jinx type thing with yourself, where you figure like if you bet against them, maybe they will do well?
No, because again, at a certain point, I want to win some money. Okay. And look, here's the bottom line. Like I was almost trying to inflict my own slump for them because they haven't slumped. And I'm like, okay, are they peaking? They peaking too early? Are they peaking too early? Well, they peaked for the last 6 months. So they better, we have no choice. Either continue to peak or this is all going to be really, really, really bad for Bostonians.
All right, I understand wanting to peak at the right time, and we talked about jinxes. As far as the President's Trophy is concerned, do you feel like there's any sort of jinx with that, or does it mean absolutely nothing to you?
Let me be clear. I want absolutely zero to do with the President's Trophy. I want zero to do with the wins record. I want zero to do with the points record. I want zero to do with Pasternak's 60 goals, zero to do with any win percentage. The only thing that matters, and people in this city should know that, the only thing that matters is rings. Rings, rings, rings. So that's the test now. There became no point in watching them as it went into by February, really, because it's like they've passed every test. Now we won't really know the next test because it's not handed out until May into June, hopefully.
Well, the numbers would, point to your skepticism surrounding anything to do with the President's Trophy. Apparently, it's been given out 36 times. Only 8 of the winners went on to win the Stanley Cup. Last 9 trophy winners have not won a title. So I'm just going to make your anxiety go through the roof here. Yeah. So that being said, what is the level of your playoff anxiety? You're clearly afraid that your team is not going to peak at the right time. And so what are your expectations?
Well, the thing, they've been the best team in hockey. So I think the thing about the whole President's Trophy stat is I believe that of all the last 9 years, but the 1 seeds have won more cups than any other seed. So but it's kind of relative when you think of it, okay, yeah, sure. Bottom line, I just want to have a long run. It brings me so much happiness. Everybody knows, every fan knows, there's nothing like a good deep playoff run. You haven't slept. You're growing out the beard. Look, I'm already getting a head start on the stash. You're talking about it every night. The build up. You get to drink beers in the middle of the week. It's supposed to be a great thing. And I just really don't want them to gag. And it's well, that whole thing was fun. Let's just hang the President's Trophy banner. Whoop-de-doo.
So you just want that deep playoff run. It makes everything, more enjoyable. You can keep talking about it, especially when a team like the Bruins, like a legacy type of franchise, is in it. And then, right. But, I mean, you really think they can pull it off? You think they can win the Cup, or are you just not even ready to go there yet?
So here's the thing. We say, do you think you'll win the Cup? For me, I'm just saying, okay, Bruins or the field. Okay. And you're giving me 15 other teams. So I'm going to take the 15 other teams. I'd rather take 15 shots at it. As you can see, that's not going so well. I've already taken, 30 plus shots at it, but I really am pretty terrified of the Edmonton Oilers out of the West. I have a future on them, and then I doubled down again at the deadline. So I think Edmonton is kind of my team where I've put my money where my mouth is. And the Bruins, I mean, look, even if they do win this thing, you can still say nobody expected them to do this. So this is pretty amazing.
And I don't even have to wonder whether you had a future on your Bruins based on your track record.
Yeah, no future on the Bruins. Yeah, great job, Tim. Great job.
All right, Tim Kalinowski, thanks so much for this therapy session. I think this is really important just in general for sports fans to try to study you. We always enjoy having you on the show. We're going to have you back on Friday as well. Don't forget, we'll see you then.
Can't wait. Thank you, Maria.
And to recap today's show, we featured NBA, golf, and MLB picks. Remember, an easy way to reference all the picks we share is to follow Green Dot Daily in the Action app. Green Dot Daily is presented by BetMGM. Use bonus code ACTION when signing up to get up to $1,000 paid back in bonus bets if you don't win your first bet. Terms and conditions apply. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. That's going to do it for Green Dot Daily. I'm Maria Marino. Thanks so much for watching, and I will see you back here tomorrow. That's Thursday at 3 Eastern on the Action Network, YouTube, and the Action app.